Namaskar and welcome to this edition of Insight. I am Charu Karthikeyan. Barack Obama has won a second term as the President of the United States of America. Since Bill Clinton in 1996, Barack Obama is the first Democrat president to have won a second term. What does this mean for America in the next 4 years as well as for the world? We'll be trying to find out all of that in this edition of Insight. And I have a fantastic panel of experts today in the studio here with me to talk about Barack Obama's victory and what does it mean for America and the world. On my right here is International Affairs expert Sriram Cholia, also Vice Dean with the Jindal School of International Affairs. Sriram, thank you so much for joining me here. Sriram, I would like to begin with you. How are you looking at this victory? As the cliche goes, has the best man won, or is America really rooting for Barack Obama?
Well, it's an absolute clean victory and defied some of the predictions that it was going to be, nail-biting and that we will not know probably for the whole night or maybe for the next few days. I think it's a fairly comprehensive victory if you look at the Electoral College votes difference. And even the popular vote looks like Obama's barely won, but he has won the popular vote too. So I think it's in many ways it's a gravity-defying victory because the economy was not in great shape, and not since 1936 when Roosevelt won with record unemployment of double-digit figures. No president has ever managed to get re-elected with this kind of unemployment and general economic stagnation and downcast mood. So a bearish America re-electing, I think you have to give credit to Obama's operation, the machine, get out the vote, that whole process that they had in place, the grassroots volunteers. In that sense, it was no different from 2008. The enthusiasm of the volunteers and of the ones who worked hard to ensure people turn up and cast their votes. That has, I think, eventually succeeded and granted him another 4 years.
Okay. Sriram, the Republicans, Mitt Romney, what went wrong with them? As the press told us, a lot of reports, a lot of analysis we've been hearing over the past several months, the mood of the nation was such that any better alternative to Barack Obama would have had a good run in the elections. The economy was not in the best of shapes, yet it did not happen. What went wrong?
You have to look at specific blunders they made in individual states, especially battleground states. Ohio, for example, which was, the edge of the precipice for both candidates. Ohio, Romney had supported a more libertarian position that government should not intervene and should not bail out the auto industry. And that cost him a lot of white working class votes, which you would assume would normally go to the Republican side. So individually they have made mistakes. The anti-immigration stance would have hurt his chances in some of the border states. New Mexico, Obama winning New Mexico, I was a little surprised. So, which is a southern state. So those were there. But I think at the strategic level, the blunders were more about, the message that he had relayed, the message that government should be downsized and that's the solution. And the general idea that, he was trying to bring himself away from the extreme right during the primaries towards the center. And what that did was it created this whole impression in the minds of people that he's not sincere and that he's too opportunistic and he's just fudging his way through in order to win as many votes from the center as possible. So in a way, it was like, he had a foot in both, so he wanted the right, and Paul Ryan was taken on board for that reason as his vice presidential candidate. He wanted the center where he knows desperately that majority of Americans are congregated. And how does he do both? These are kind of triangulation. People used to criticize Bill Clinton for these, but it came out now in the era of electronic television and internet and all that. People could say, this guy is saying let Detroit go, let the auto workers go, and if these companies go bankrupt, that's fine. And now he can't say that now I'm for the middle class and I'm for the working class. So that's where I think the message was, I think he was desperate, obviously, and he tried his level best to capture as many votes from the center. But I think it sent an impression to the undecided voters that this guy is not to be trusted because what he says one day can undergo a flip-flop the next day. So I think the basic idea was of truthfulness, honesty, integrity. Obama, remember, scandal-free presidency. Not a single scandal worth mentioning. So all these things matter, especially for people when they make personal decisions. This is a person I can trust. And sadly, Romney couldn't convey that.
Okay. Sriram, we could go on and on about the assessment of the electoral campaign, why he won and why Romney lost. But I think it would be a good time now to switch over to the challenges really at head. What does the victory mean for the future? In terms of the economy, first of all, in terms of America's domestic affairs, Barack Obama's challenges at hand.
Yeah, and as Ambassador Shukla just mentioned, there is a kind of dichotomy between the need for greater short-term state spending in order to boost the economy, and this looming, the budgetary doomsday that's approaching. So I think to an extent you can say that Obama's has been more Keynesian than the Europeans, definitely. And that has helped America revive somewhat, 1.5 to 2% of economic growth. It's not great, but all the same, they will take, so there have been no major double dips or triple dips like you have had in Europe, where austerity has been, pushed far too much. Yeah. So if you have to have, greater state spending in order to boost various segments of the economy and to generate employment and so on, it will definitely mean he will run into this divided government problem where the House remains in Republican hands. So there will be, a huge tug of war. And if you remember, Obama was paralyzed because of this opposition from the legislature during his first term. And in a way, in fact, even during the campaign, there were some on the right who were saying that, people, if you're really smart, you elect Romney because then, there will not be any obstruction from Congress. So it already predicted that there's going to be this big standoff. Yeah. And I, personally think that, he will need to maybe arrogate more power to the executive, because sometimes, presidents have some recourses constitutionally to take on greater powers to be able to ward off these kind of, obstructionism from Congresses when it is in the larger national interests. Yeah. So economy, the spending issue, the role of government is central. The second thing, the priorities, the problem has with, even though Obama's done reasonably well, given the circumstances, the priority, if you look at the quantitative easing and most of the loose monetary policies that Ambassador just mentioned, they have not really benefited the average Joe and Jane. These have largely benefited well-placed financial institutions who have, benefited from low cost of borrowing. The mortgage rates, the home loans, the student loans, the terms of those have not particularly improved. In fact, so the people at the bottom have hope in Obama. I think there is despair. But, along with despair, you need some hope, right? So that is there, that he is relatively better because at least the state will continue to play the welfare role that it is assumed to play in a crisis like this. But otherwise, it's pretty grim. And if you look at, economic history, these kind of financial crises, systemic ones, take no less than 10 years to clear up and for some kind of status quo ante to be restored. So we are nowhere close to 10. This is only halfway down the line. It's just the 5th year of the economic crisis. So this is a long crisis, and Obama, I'm afraid, will actually be completing 2 terms of what is actually a long crisis, economic crisis for America. The only saving grace is that he has, I would say, the more compassionate ticket, and that's what won him, this re-election. So he will need to confront a situation where, there are people, the legislature is split, and they will continue to obstruct him tooth and nail. And one only hopes that, it doesn't again turn, as some self-critical Americans were saying, we become a banana republic, where, the two can't get along, executive and legislature, and it's just a kind of a gridlock. So this is, I think, structurally the biggest challenge for the economy facing Obama. And if he has to think about legacy, he'll have to make more hard choices. And maybe a second term is good for that, because he's not looking for a third term. So at least he will be able to push through some painful measures, social welfare, health care, cost of education. These are the bottom line issues which Americans, for which they still have reposed faith in him.
Okay. Sriram, the impact of Barack Obama's victory on India-US relations for the next 4 years?
Well, I would say the first term was notable for a degree of drift in India-US relations. And perhaps it was a kind of an adjustment after the high of the Bush Jr. administration. because the previous regime had wanted, had a clear notion of India being a very central player in Asian security and in the Asian balance of power. And now I think Obama clearly is not really, although there is competition with China in the Asia Pacific, at the same time, the economic integration with China is so strong that, India doesn't figure in the US-China equation as much as it used to in the past. So to that extent, but now I would say that there was a honeymoon period between the US and China that has worn out. So as the relations get tense and more adversarial because of trade and because of what's happening in East Asia and Southeast Asia, probably again, even though we don't want to be seen as pawns in any game, our position and our own security concerns vis-a-vis China will inevitably, enter the picture in geostrategic terms. Trade-wise, I mean, it's growing great, and I think we can only expect that 100 billion, it will go on even further and better in this regime. And remember, Obama has a target of doubling exports in order to try and overcome some of the slump in the economy. So all those, I think India will be important, and India will continue to be both a recipient and a sender of of goods and services and capital.
But the anti-outsourcing mood still persists, right? Yeah,
but most presidents say that for rhetorical reasons, and then after they come to power, it doesn't really translate as much into real policy making. And if you think about it, I think the Americans, Obama has been called the first Asian president because of the so-called pivot to Asia and the whole move away, supposedly, the concentration of forces and of diplomatic attention is going to be more and more towards Asia. So inevitably, our size and our reputation as a responsible actor and, our democratic credentials, all these will matter. And even though Obama is not a kind of a hard balancing person against China, I think I think the administration as a whole will inevitably lean on us to not only pursue not only forward American interests, but also mutual interests on which we have convergence. And in that sense, I don't see, we were ready for Romney as well, in that sense. Because now it's become kind of mainstream, bipartisan. Only thing is a question of emphasis. And if they had lost India somehow in the last 4 years, one would hope that they would rediscover it. Because, even though our economy is slowing down, we are still forces to reckon with in Asia. And, we cannot be ignored. And as long as they see that, writing on the wall, I think they will come to us, and we will also need them for various things, just as we need China also for our own mutual purposes. So, it's a kind of a flux. And in this kind of flux, I think India is one card, visiting card the Americans cannot miss. And I hope, they will have a presidential visit scheduled soon.
Okay. That's all we have time for in this edition of Insight. Thank you so much for watching us. Do stay tuned to Lok Sabha Television. Namaskar.